Hi folks, Christoph the Polish Geek, and with Steel Ball Run coming very soon, I decided that right before the release of Steel Ball Run, I decided to make it a Jojo week, which means that yes, now several Jojo videos are gonna be coming up, and we're gonna be focusing on nothing else but Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. That's right, again, Steel Ball Run is upon us. That's why it's gonna be now a Jojo week, and I decided to start it with an opinion piece video. And it's the first opinion piece video where I'm actually more of a question, where I'm doing more of a question than actually giving you my opinion, because this type of thing where there is a really good argument that can be made on both sides of the equation. And the question that we're gonna be examining is, should Giovanna be in Stone Ocean? Because again, plenty of fans feel that he absolutely should show up for the finale when Enrico Pucci summons Dio's sons, while others feel that it wasn't really his story, it was Jolene's story, and plus his stand would be too powerful and would just easily defeat Enrico Pucci and there would be no tension whatsoever. So yes, there is a really good argument on both sides, and that's why it's the first opinion piece video where instead of actually giving you my honest opinion, I'm actually examining a question from both sides. And who knows, maybe we can actually come up with an answer at the end of the video, but for now, let's examine both valid arguments on both sides of the equation. And yes, I myself kind of found myself on both sides. So, let's dig in. Should Giovanna be in Stone Ocean? We know that in the last act of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean, the main villain, Enrico Pucci, disciple of Dio, and my favorite Jojo villain actually, summons Dio's sons to fight Jolene and her friends. And plenty of people feel Giovanna should be there as well. I mean, he was the son of Dio, and obviously he would fight against Pucci, but him being sucked in and brought to Florida would still make perfect sense. And there is even a huge fan speculation that Giorno actually was in Florida already at the time, just didn't make it in time to the final battle before Pucci's ultimate defeat. And I myself am in a conflict about that actually. Should Giorno be there? Maybe he should not. There are great arguments for both sides of this equation, and I actually found myself pretty frequently on both sides of it actually. First, not only Giorno is Dio's son, but bringing him for the final battle would be a great culmination for all Jojo parts, and it would bring everything full circle, because let's face it, Diamond is Unbreakable and Golden Wind, while both great stories with great characters, they are almost more like spin-offs, with Stone Ocean as a true narrative sequel to Stardust Crusaders. Yes, there are some very important lore events in both, and in Golden Wind, we even learn origins of how stands came to be in the first place, but actual story-wise, Stone Ocean continues battle of the Joestars against Dio, or more like against his disciple at this point, but still. And again, it's also about Jotaro's daughter Jolene. So, I think having Giorno, the main character of Golden Wind, show up for the final battle would be very emotional, and it would be a fantastic way to further include Golden Wind into main narrative and basically bring everything full circle. But of course, there are also good arguments against Giorno being there. I mean, the first argument that you can make against Giorno being there is that it would make zero sense for a mafia boss to just go to Florida out of the blue, but come on, Jojo has done way more bizarre things than that already. He could just tell his mafia that something calls him to Florida, and he hears a call and arrives. A much better argument against Giorno being there though is that this is first and foremost the story of Jolene Cujo. It's her story, and while her father, the most recurring Jojo, Jotaro Kujo, spends most of his time in a coma, he still has very huge plot relevance to the story, while Giorno wouldn't really have much outside of basically showing up out of the blue towards the end. And also, all three of Dio's sons that show up in Stone Ocean are all seeking purpose in life that Enrico Pucci finally gave them. Giorno has already found his purpose and he became the head of Passione and basically fulfilled his dream and ambition, while his three estranged brothers are basically all failures or lost souls who seek purpose and guidance that Enrico Pucci is very much offering them. So this is a perfectly logical reason why Giorno should not really be there, because he just doesn't really seek any purpose in contrast to his three brothers. Again, he already fulfilled his purpose when he became the head of Passione. A very big and convincing argument against Giorno Giovanna showing up for the Stone Ocean finale is that at this point Giorno's stand, Golden Requiem, is just at this point way too overpowered and would have easily defeated Pucci and make the whole final battle very anticlimactic. And because 10 years have passed since the finale of Golden Wind, chances are it's now even more powerful than that actually, and that some fans would probably like it because the ending of Stone Ocean is already pretty controversial, with most of the main cast dying, including Jolene herself actually, and the universe being reset. Hell, I'm actually pretty iffy on that ending, and I'm still debating if it's a great ending or if I don't like it. I'm still very iffy on that, but that's an entirely different story for an entirely separate video really. What we are focusing is whether Giorno Giovanna should be there or not, and again, as I just said, his stand at this point is just way too overpowered and he would defeat Enrico Pucci way too easily, and the whole final battle would feel so anticlimactic. And I really love the final battle of Stone Ocean. It might actually be my favorite final battle in all the Jojo series combined, but if Giorno Giovanna showed up there, then again, he would just defeat Pucci easily and the final battle would be very anticlimactic. Plus, more importantly, it wasn't his job to defeat Enrico Pucci. I mean, yeah, he was the main character of Golden Wind, but in Stone Ocean he would basically be just this random dude that just shows up for the final battle and then basically saves the day. And it would not really be that much of an emotional payoff, because Enrico Pucci, who's been antagonizing Jolene and the company, so Emporio being the one to defeat Enrico Pucci after Enrico Pucci killed the rest of the cast, that feels actually so perfect and so climatic and so emotional. But instead, if Giorno Giovanna just showed up there and basically easily defeated Pucci with the heroes likely all surviving, yeah, that would feel so anticlimactic, especially that, again, Giorno also even had no prior history with Pucci. A counter argument to that could be, on the other hand, that the point would be that Enrico Pucci would kill Giorno right away because he knew about his very powerful stand, so he would pretty quickly kill Giorno before Giorno even got a chance to do anything in the first place. And that could actually be pretty emotional actually, because I mean the ending of Stone Ocean was already very emotional anyway, but if basically another protagonist was killed, Giorno Giovanna from Golden Wind, then it would add even more layers of emotions to the story. But then you could argue, but why bring him there in the first place if you're just gonna kill him off right away? Jolene and Jojo, who had huge plot relevance throughout the whole story, so their deaths are actually very emotional. And I mean, Giorno Giovanna's death would also be very emotional for the fans of Golden Wind, but for people who haven't seen Golden Wind or don't really care much for it, it'll basically be just this random dude that shows up at the end and gets killed pretty easily. So yeah, bringing Giorno just to kill him off wouldn't feel very emotional. I mean, it would feel emotional for the fans of Golden Wind, but it would kind of feel pointless just for the sake of bringing back Giorno. On the other hand, if he made full use of his end Golden Requiem, then the final battle would be just too anticlimactic because he would defeat Pucci too easily. So ultimately, again, there are really valid arguments on both sides of the equation, and again, I found myself on both sides of the whole equation pretty frequently, whether Giorno Giovanna should be in the Stone Ocean finale. But ultimately, my opinion is, after pondering it and making this video for you all. I'm coming to conclusion. Ultimately, I'm slightly leaning towards no. It was a good decision that ultimately Araki chose not to include them for the Stone Ocean final battle. Again, it would very much bring all the parts full circle actually, and it would be very emotional to have Giorno show up for that, no doubt about that, but I ultimately think that, as I said, this is ultimately the story of Jolene Kujo, and again, Giovanna had really no plot relevance here, combined with that he already found his purpose long ago, that ultimately, I think it was a good decision that Araki ultimately chose not to include him. While, again, there are perfectly valid arguments to make that maybe he should. But ultimately, my opinion is he made the right decision, even if there certainly would be some merits if he did. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes another video in the opinion piece series. And because Steel Ball Run is upon us, again, expect more Jojo videos soon. Until the very first episode, the premiere, the 48-minute premiere of Steel Ball Run releases on March 19th, I'm only gonna be doing now Jojo videos. So folks, brace yourself for more Jojo videos, and thank you all of you for checking out this one. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I will talk to you very soon in another Jojo video. Talk to you then, bye!